Welcome to the Virtual Manager podcast. My name's Anna Russell. I'm an artist manager and founder of The Virtual Manager. Throughout my career, I've developed and managed several music artists from new unsigned acts right through to globally successful ones. This podcast is for all unmanaged or independent music artists who want to start, build, or grow a successful, sustainable music career. The right manager for you will help shape the creative direction and trajectory of your artist project. They'll form a strategy to help you fulfill your potential as an artist and achieve your career goals. They'll oversee and manage all the day-to-day of your career, often taking on the role of tour manager, booking agent, PA, and everything else in the early stages of your career. They'll be your closest confidant and ally in the industry, and they'll believe in you and encourage you every step of the way. As a result, they'll be the most important and highest valued member of your team, and a good working relationship with your manager is paramount to your success. But how does an artist manager earn their money, and how is it that you as the artist are expected to pay them? In this episode, I'm going to talk about exactly that, so that when you reach the stage where you're ready for a manager and you find yourself in discussion with managers, you'll know exactly how it works for both parties. Historically, artist managers have always been paid by way of a 20% commission, meaning 20% of your earnings as an artist are paid to your manager. And that's 20% gross, so all of your earnings before any expenses are deducted. That's from everything you earn during the term of you working with that manager. And this, of course, isn't paid to the manager until you, the artist, have been paid first. Once you have, you will typically transfer the monies due to your manager quarterly or perhaps even monthly. There are, however, some expenses which are exempt from this in management agreements. So one example of this might be tour support or recording advances that your label would give you to go on tour or to record an album. The manager won't take commission on this, or at least not until all or certain costs are covered, as these monies are advances and therefore don't count as earnings. When you are working with a manager, there is also often a sunset clause put in place so the manager continues to receive commission after they've stopped managing you, but at a lesser commission percentage, such as 10%, and only for a set time, for example, 5 years. This is calculated on future earnings that arise from activities which that manager secured for you when they were acting manager. Does that mean you can sometimes be paying commission to two different managers at the same time, both past and present? The answer is yes, but on very different earnings of yours. This simple commission model, of course, benefits the artist in that you don't pay the manager unless you yourself are making money. Because remember, 20% of nothing is nothing. Using this model, it's not unusual that by the time you reach the stage that you're earning income from your music as an early stages or independent artist, your manager will have been working for a few years, perhaps 3 years or similar. Remember, we talked a few episodes ago about how long it takes to break through as an artist. And they'll have been earning nothing for all that time if they started with you at the beginning of your career. Therefore, my view is that artist managers really deserve what they earn. But then I would say that being an artist manager. Some people play around with this percentage amount. For example, I've heard of some artist managers taking a higher commission rate of 25%, and in return, they only manage one artist exclusively. This model works well if the artist is very well established and extremely busy and would like the undivided attention of the manager. Therefore, they're incentivized with a higher commission percentage. I would not advise this to you as an artist, though, unless in such exceptional circumstances like I've just mentioned. Likewise, I've heard of managers taking slightly less than 20%, anywhere between 15 to 19% for various different reasons, some of which we'll touch on in this episode. But it may include because they don't manage the artist for the world and instead just manage them in one territory. It should be said that this is less common though, and I wouldn't advise or like to see the percentage dropping below 15% commission for an artist manager. The commission percentage can also be different in different territories. For example, US-based artists tend to pay their US-based managers just 15%. though that's because the artist business manager, as they sometimes call it, also takes a commission of 5% on top of this. So they split the commission between a general manager and then a business manager, but in total, the artist is still paying out a 20% commission between the two. There's also a sliding commission model where you pay your artist manager a certain commission percentage, say 25%, up until you're earning £10,000 per year, and then reducing the commission percentage to 20% once you're earning over this amount, and then reducing the commission percentage to perhaps even lower, such as 18%, once you're earning over £80,000, and then maybe 15% once you're earning over £150,000, or vice versa. Now, these specific numbers are just for this example. They're not representative of a deal that I'm suggesting. It's just to show you that there can be a range of commission percentages used in various different cases. In today's music industry, artist management business models, and therefore the ways in which artist managers are paid, are diversifying. This is not surprising, as the music industry and the way in which music artists earn money has changed hugely since the 20% commission management model was first devised a few decades ago. There's lots of argument to say that the current 20% commission model is outdated, not least as artist managers are not paid for so long. With that said, the 20% commission model is still the most common means of remunerating artist managers. It is also the model which your lawyer will most likely encourage you to agree to as an artist, not least as this is the way that it's just always been done. And it's certainly one of the most straightforward ways of paying your manager. However, there are a growing number of artist managers using a retainer or fee-based business model, where the artists they manage pay them an agreed upon monthly rate or fee for managing their affairs. These are typically better suited to artists who are perhaps more established and already earning a salary from their music. Sometimes this is a flat fee with absolutely no commission taken on top. The benefit of this for the artist is that you pay your manager the exact same amount every single month, which allows you to budget more easily. And it also means that as your career and your earnings climb, the amount you pay your manager still stays the same. It's for this reason that some artist managers use a retainer plus commission percentage model, whereby you pay them a flat retainer or fee each month, plus a smaller percentage of commission than usual, for example, just 10% instead of 20%. Or they use a sliding fees model, whereby you pay the manager a monthly retainer of a certain amount. Then, as your income as an artist grows, that fee goes up. For example, they charge you £500 a month if you're earning over £2,500 per month on music. Then it goes up to £1,000 per month once you're earning £5,000 per month as the artist. Again, these specific numbers and timescale are just for example purposes to illustrate. I'm not suggesting that these are the numbers you should be using. So again, a sliding model can be used for paying artist managers, whether you're paying them a commission percentage, a retainer or fee, or both in some combination. But these are rarer models than the traditional 20%. What's very important to say is that artist management is not a free service. And no matter how much your manager believes in and supports their artist, they will still want and need to be paid for their time and expertise. It's for this reason that I also know of artist managers who charge their artists a very, very small nominal fee paid by the artist monthly, which as soon as the artist starts earning regularly from music, that amount that they've already paid the manager will be deducted from the 20% commission that the manager will revert to at that point, i.e. they deduct the full amount that you've already paid them to date from the first 20% commission that they are due, and they will now be charging you moving forward. Whatever agreement you strike with your manager, you want to ensure that you have a written contract in place with them that reflects what has been agreed, which territories it covers, and how many years you are locked in for. A music lawyer will usually advise you sign no more than 3 years at a time initially. Typically, the manager's lawyer will draw up the proposed agreement, and you will have your lawyer, which must be a separate independent music lawyer, advise you on the agreement and any clauses that you or they feel should be amended before both parties ultimately sign it. Be aware that most established and experienced artist managers will have agreements that allow for little negotiation. Before you enter into a management agreement and/or start paying a manager, you want to have built up trust and respect in your manager. For this reason, I always advise a trial period before entering into an official management agreement. Now, we don't have time to go into the full ins and outs of management agreements in this episode, but suffice to say that you want to ensure you're legally covered. The agreement defines clear working terms and conditions and can help strengthen trust between yourself and your manager. And remember, if you and therefore your manager aren't currently earning anything, do always thank your manager for their work. This goes a long way when the manager is putting in the same blood, sweat and tears that you are, without any guarantee of future income. These are just some of the ways in which artist managers today are paid, and I suspect that we will see this diversifying further and quickly over the coming years. If you're an artist or indeed an artist manager listening, I'd be really interested to hear how you either pay your manager or managers how you charge your artists, especially if it's out with any of the models we've covered in this episode. Get in touch and let me know. That's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. However, I will be bringing you a very special bonus episode later on this week. It will be out on Friday, and it's just a bit of an update and behind the scenes of everything that's been going on here at AR Artist Management. Look out for that coming in just a few days. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Virtual Manager podcast. If you've found it useful, I invite you to check out the Virtual Manager membership site. The Virtual Manager is an essential resource for independent music artists who want to start, build, or grow a successful, sustainable music career. It ensures that you have the foundations of that music career in place, then helps you to build on those to achieve your music career goals. With monthly music industry training, a library of tools and resources, A&R feedback on your music, access to live Q&As with me, plus an active supportive community of like-minded artists, the Virtual Manager is the perfect place to be for any unmanaged or independent artist. The Virtual Manager relaunches very shortly, so to get early bird access at the lowest membership price, join the waiting list now at thevirtualmanager.co.uk. Finally, please take a minute to review and subscribe to this podcast. It helps more independent music artists to find us.